Well, hello, my fellow car modelers. How are you doing today? Welcome to another episode of the Model Car Enthusiast Podcast. I know what it is, but I got to always ask Mark. This is episode 17.
Number 17.
Number 17. Wow,
Hey.
we're on a roll.
Thank
We're
God.
doing good. And this is a really interesting episode we're going to do. It's kind of going to be a little different than what we have done in the past. It's going to be more of a Q&A because we want to talk about and find out from an industry insider on what it really takes to come up with it, manufacture, market, and sell actual styrene model kits. And we have as our guest today Jim Rogers from Salvinos JR Models. He is the JR in JR Models.
Oh, I'm just the J. He's the
You're
R.
just the J. Okay, we'll just leave it at that. But we got Jim here from he is half owner and kit designer. He's the guy who if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have him. So got him, and then of course we have a reoccurring knucklehead guest, Chris from Scale Speed Garage, with us because, well, as everybody knows, he's a 3D print designer. So Jim and him kind of have the same kind of job. So it's going to be neat getting some technical questions in there that I'm sure Chris will have some good ones. So what we're going to do is we're basically going to go around the table here, and we all are going to have questions that we have about what it takes, because there is a lot of misconceptions out there on the face box where people, us as modelers, we tend to, we have what we want, and there's some people that don't understand what it takes to do this, or when a kit comes out, if it's like this or like that, and it's like, well, why can't you just change this? Just go change it. And it's like, well, it's not that simple. And a lot of other things are everybody's kind of got, well, if they do it this way, or I don't understand why they do it that way, and that's just stupid. And so I think everybody thinks they know how it's done just because we're model builders, but we really don't. So this is our opportunity to talk to somebody that really does know what it takes to get these kits on the actual shelves at the store. So it's not like the little thing that I do with just like resin cast stuff and sell it online. Big deal. These guys are producing, boxing, licensing. They got a lot of things they got to do. So with that being said, we'll start with Hobby Dude with the first question, and then we'll run around. I'll direct wherever we go. We're not totally going circle, but I want to get Mark in there. You got some questions for Jim? Well, first of all, before we do that, Jim, why don't you just kind of talk a little bit what your background is and everything, where you came from, and how this all happened?
Well, my background, I'm actually a sculptor. I spent 30-something years sculpting toy prototypes for toy companies, and you guys probably had kids, and you probably stepped on something in the dark that started life on my deck. So we did all sorts of stuff, giveaway things, and I did that for about 30 years till technology changed, and going from hand sculpting to digital, and I wasn't set up for digital, and Rick was an early customer of mine back in the late 80s, and I sculpted sports figurines for his new company. And after about 20 of them, he started getting into these Beanie Babies that bears
Wow.
with the names of the sports teams and stuff on them.
Mhm.
And he made millions of dollars doing that, and till things went sideways. And he and I decided at one point, why doesn't he sell the idea of injection molded stuff, and I'll do the designing? So I had to learn how to do CAD work, and somewhere along the line, we decided, let's make model cars. So at that point, it was take all of our savings and any family member we could con into donating to it, and we started making molds, and I learned how to design stuff. And I'm going to answer one of the questions you brought up there, Matt, about why can't they change something? Well,
Yes.
once it's cut in steel, you can go back and change, but you got $5,000 gone at that. and you got something off the production line. And you want to change something else? Well, there's more. You want to do a body? A body is going to be about 40 grand. And that's not including my weeks and months of sitting at the desk screaming at the computer. You want a full-blown start to finish chassis and everything up, like that right over my shoulder there that you really can't see is a fully assembled funny car.
Here we go.
Oh, don't look at it. Don't look at it. That's it right there.
Zoom in.
Yep.
Get my wish list started.
We were looking at spending about $100,000 for the mold, and now with the tariffs, it's probably going to be pushing $2 million. So that's going to be pushing out a little bit. So it's, man, that's the company. It just, in a sense, it just hemorrhages money for new stuff for you guys. You want to, that's why people say, well, when are you going to do a Magnum? I'll buy one. What about the other 20,000 we need? So to pay for it.
Yeah.
So anyway, but Rick and I have been doing this for, we started probably about 10 years ago. 8 years in July is the release of the Gray Ghost, and through the good and through the bad, we're still having a blast doing it, and I get to meet cool guys like you guys.
Aw.
Yeah,
Well,
That kind of goes to a little bit of a story of how we met and
A
how
lot
I got
of a lot of us.
Yeah. Well, I started this little channel. A couple of you might have heard of, whatever it is, that Luka C thing. And it was like early in my channel. And for some reason, Jim liked what I did on YouTube. And he contacted me long before anybody even had heard of Salvinos JR models. And he sent me a picture of the Gray Ghost, and my eyes went boing. And we just started talking online for quite a while and discussing things. And when that kit came out, he said, "Send me a shirt. I'll send you a kit." I jumped on that, so I got an early Gray Ghost with for a Luka C t-shirt. I think it was a Luka C t-shirt or something.
and I got a very dog-eared Luka C t-shirt now.
Yeah, and so we just became friends. And he would pass through town and we'd meet up because he'd be going from Texas, where he's at, into Los Angeles to meet up with Jim or with Rick. And we met at Andy's once. We met up, a couple times for breakfast and things, and just became a really good friendship, which ended up my whole thing being involved with the company. Just love making videos and promoting their stuff because I just truly believed in what they were doing. It was fantastic. They were doing something. If everybody remembers back around 2019, 18, actually, it would have been, that the side of NASCAR modeling really was dying. And none of the model companies wanted to touch it. And these guys had the guts to say, I think we can do it. And
Market there.
yeah, and as Jim says, they put everything into it. And, the naysayers were out there and giving them garbage about that. And I was like, oh, no, I think this could happen. And it did. And they brought, with them acquiring the old monogram 80s kits, these would be gone. They were going to get melted down.
Yeah.
And they scrounged up more money and bought those. They saved those. And now we're getting great kits because, like Fred, we were talking before we started. Fred did a beautiful, the Monte Carlo, the Budweiser Monte Carlo of Darrell Waltrip's. And you wouldn't have been able to do that model with those awesome decals.
Nope. That's trying to find, just going to model shows just to find old product, old stock, but now that it's being, brought out, back to us, it's kind of, it's a blessing, getting to see stuff that, I seen when I was younger. I mean, it's, being able to have the availability of it now, to not only just the old stuff, but the newer stuff like what J.R. Salvinos is designing as far as the newer, like the new generation cars, the Indy cars. We were talking about that early, and in a bigger scale also.
Coming off of what Fred was saying, and it is great to have those old monogram and Revell kits back. But Jim, you did something beyond that, and that's correct. The windshield corrects some of that stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
I
Give us a
actually
better product.
I didn't have a whole lot in that revised windshield. Rick actually took it to somebody and they scanned one of the correct old ones.
Oh,
Wow.
To do the windshield for the first ones, that was I did the best I possibly could, and it was close. But we did notice that the Monte Carlo, the A pillars on that Monte Carlo are not symmetric.
Mm-mm.
really?
They're just off enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted them to do a little tweaking on the mold for that Monte Carlo, so that do a little work on the core, so that it would have a place on the inside for the windshield to glue in, rather than try to fit
opposed
it
to
in.
the
But
yeah,
they
On
ended
the
up
outside, yeah.
they ended up doing a windshield that fit correctly. So
Yeah.
you know,
Okay.
6 one way, half a dozen the other. But
Yeah,
they're
definitely.
working.
Well, either way, that was an upgrade to existing kit, which I think was something. And you know what? You guys didn't have to do that, but you did,
We
and so thanks for that.
we had
Yeah,
we didn't get the windshield mold on that, so we had to make a windshield mold.
but you didn't have to make the
Mhm.
second one, the better one.
Well, you know,
I
If
guess.
you're going to do it, why
Well, see,
not?
well, there it is. Make there was the complaints, and they did when they can, they try to step up, and that's a little thing that people got to know. But what it takes, when you go, well, this is and I can a Fujimi even I have found things wrong on Tamiya models. Let me tell you guys, everybody out there, it's not a perfect thing, but I mean, you got to give the model companies a break. They get it really close, but then when they realize that something might be a little off, why don't they just fix it? And that's kind of like why we got Jim on today. He's going to explain why sometimes you can't jump up and fix
Yeah,
it.
it's all about the
It
mighty
took a
buck.
while, but how much did it take to just scan and redo that new? If you don't mind telling us. What did it take for you guys to finally be able to do that and correct that glass from the original glass that you made?
I'm expecting they actually took the mold off of my design and tweaked it. If that's what they did, it probably cost them a couple grand to get it scanned, get the data up, work it through, to then modify the ends of the glass. That's probably what they did. But still, that's a couple grand. But if it had been start all over, a new window, it probably would have been 3 or 4.
Well, I tell you what, I think that's what it was, because there was a conversation about the glass from the old kits of your old kits to newer kits of the 80s monogram redos, that there is actually a difference in the curvature and everything, that there was a little bit of an issue with the curvature of the original ones to where it's been corrected and they fit so much better now. And so there was more than just the sides and all that. So yeah, but you did it. That's the thing. It took some time. You guys had to, recoup some money there, but you put the effort into it. But that was kind of an easy one. Sometimes these fixes could be $10,000 to do, and be a minor change.
Yeah.
So so it's there's a lot to it, and again, you guys, who was going to step up to the table and do race car kits again? The new Revell wasn't even they didn't have any interest in it. AMT, they do what they got. They just repop their old thing, which is great. So, and the fact that just speaking of NASCAR, what it did for us, bringing we never had the Chargers and the Roadrunners and those but to start it off, I remember when the Gray Ghost came out. It was the late '70s Oldsmobile. There was never anything close. We never had a couple of resin casters over the decades, did okay ones, but we never had that, and that kit come out. And then a Monte Carlo,
Well,
70s
There
Carlo.
was the reason Rick picked the Gray Ghost was One of the magazines did a survey from NASCAR builders. What did they want to have? What was their top 10 list? And the top was the Olds 442. So that was our first one. And then the next one down the list was the Monte Carlos, because
Mm-hmm.
you guys had the existing road Monte Carlos, and you had to just do all sorts of stuff.
Yeah,
to make
it took a lot of work.
So once we got those, and then when we had just started shipping the Gray Ghosts when the opportunity to get the monogram molds came along. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was I remember when that happened. The thing about that Monte Carlo, when you guys came, that I think a real brilliant thing you did with that was a nice surprise, is the fact that you have in every kit that you get, every Monte Carlo, no matter what's on the box. This is the 70s ones. You have the option of doing the 73 to 76, and then the
It was,
77 was the square. I think 77 was the only year of the square, or 76, 77 was the only year for the square headlights, and the taillights were also different on those. And they give you
Yeah.
the extra, they give you the bumpers, front, grill, taillight area, all that. You have two sets to either do the early or the later of the second gen Monte Carlo, which was a really cool thing for us, because a lot of us who build a lot of NASCAR race car models will buy a kit and we're not worried about what it is, because we want to make something else.
Yeah.
And if I see, one of the ones that shows a kit that raced in the later 70s that has a square taillights, and I want to do one with the round taillight or headlights, I mean, it don't matter. I can buy that kit because it's in the kit. So it gave us a nice
give you a more
a great,
a better
great one,
a better platform.
a better platform. But like a great example is when they came out with Bertha, when they came out with Darrell Waltrip's Monte
wow.
Carlo, and Bertha did get a facelift by 1980 and updated. So you have everything in that kit. You've got the decals, but you have either the round headlight or square tail light version you want to do of Bertha. So, which, if those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, Bertha, if you guys are out there listening, Bertha was the name of Darrell Waltrip's probably one of the most successful winning Cup cars ever. Was what started out from the 75 season they built it, and it was a 75 Monte Carlo, and they raced that all the way up into 1980, and that car, it got some sheet metal change on it, kind of got bounced around a few times, but that car was just really good. Darrell loved it, so won a lot in that one.
And Darrell Waltrip's just an interesting
he's my favorite
character of of NASCAR. I mean, I love sitting listening to a lot of his, if he's on like Dirty Mo. I watch Dirty Mo religiously with Dale Jr. But when they start talking about the history, especially when Darrell was with Junior and all that with that team, and just the thing as far as the cheating, hell yeah, they cheated. You know they cheated. That's how. And I remember one episode, Darrell was like, "Yeah, Junior told me, he said we're gonna continue doing this and winning every race until they catch us." So,
Yep.
I was just like, but he's just an interesting character, and just to hear his side of, especially with Bertha itself, which I have heard, I've seen it on. Just different podcasts and actually getting to speak to him personally about that. It's so interesting. But to have, have Jim and Rick creating, that car, which that's another one that's on my build list. I want to do a copy of Bertha myself. So,
since we're talking about Bertha, when Rick went and got the licensing from the still living Gardner brother, Jim Gardner. Is it Jim Gardner? The one thing that was mentioned was, okay, I'll sign this licensing as long as you do a model of Bertha.
That's when you have your dream, whatever it is,
Yeah.
absolutely handed to you as, here's a qualification. You got to do this.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was a successful kit. I don't know if you guys even have any more. I think they're all sold. I don't know. Have to go look on salvinosjrmodels.com.
Uh-huh. There's a shameless plug.
Let's see. Do I have one sitting around here? I might.
Oh,
But that's one I want to get on. I tell you, that was one of my, and probably, I do a lot of kit of the month videos. When that one was done, I put a lot into that one, telling the story. I like to always tell the story of the car that is the kit of the month, especially when it's one of the older ones. And I really put a lot into the Bertha story, and that is still one of my most watched, most viewed video out of all the kit of the month videos I've done. I get a lot of compliments on that one because of all the history that's in that video on Bertha. I always found that car to be just fascinating, and it was a build I always wanted to do, and the fact, okay, now the kit comes out, not an issue.
Mm-mm.
But
Jim, I kind of want to piggyback on that. One of the questions, which I think you were copied. I think somehow you've seen what I wrote down today. I know Mark and I had a preliminary call before all this started about what questions we're going to answer, but I think he shared them with Jim. But what is involved? I know, like we're talking about Bertha, what was involved to get that the startup on that. But explain to everybody what. Like not just Bertha. I myself, which I'm a Georgia boy. Bill Elliott, I love my Bill Elliott cars, my chase cars, and all that. But what was involved? Because I remember with as far as with Daryl. I'm sorry, not Daryl. Daryl's probably thinking about me right now. With the late great Dale Earnhardt Sr. What's involved as far as like to getting the licensings involvement, to start from start to finish, to for a kit like the Dale Earnhardt Senior car, finding those decals, finding that kit from way on back was hard enough for us builders. But now that we've got it readily available through JR Salvinos. Explain exactly what's involved with that from idea to boxing. Yeah, with the licensing.
Fortunately, I don't have to deal with that headache side of the company. Mine is just behind me, screaming and cursing at the computer behind me.
Yeah,
doing the design. But as far as licensing goes, and I think an easy one to answer on that is what's going on right now, and that's our Phoenix buddy. Turned us on to Ronnie Thomas.
Yeah.
He introduced us to Ronnie Thomas, somebody we'd love to do because of, his history. Well, once we find somebody, or like Lauren Rainier gives us names and numbers of other people we might be interested in. Once we have that, then there's to contact them or contact their agent to see if they're interested, present them with the paperwork for the licensing, and show them, this is what they're going to sell for, this is what royalties are, going down that route. So that's the simple form of what I don't have to deal with. But a lot of it is having somebody like Matt, or if you guys know somebody that we might like to be able to do an old car, you find out and you contact them and run it by them, give their information to me or Rick, and Rick will pursue it and get the negotiations that. Once that's done, especially if it's easier on the old cars, because so much is grandfathered in that NASCAR doesn't have the approvals on it. It's just, we want to do this, so we go straight to let's say Lauren Rainier or to Ronnie, and I'm assuming. See, I don't know who owned that car that Ronnie drove, or if he had to do anything with the owner of the car. I don't know about that. Like I said, that's Rick thing. But once we get that, then it's okay. Get us some pictures, or we hunt around and we try to find pictures, and And there's this guy that he kind of builds and he's so at it, but he's good at making decals. Some kid in Indiana, Clay Kemp.
I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
That guy is just an absolute master at doing the designs. And he probably has all of the sponsors. I'm sure he's got all of the sponsors already on his computer. All he just has to do is paste. This is what I want. This is the size I want. This is where I want to put it. He's done. And then he takes the images of the car and then does his overlays and does some work in Adobe Illustrator to get those color patterns as they need to. But he's as good at doing his decals as he is at building his kits.
He is phenomenal.
Yes.
I get the pleasure each year of being able to rub elbows with Clay each year. I look forward to our show each year at Acme, and just being able not just to converse with him, but seeing his amazing talent of his builds, and as far as his design work for J.R. Salvinos come to life. I'm just blown away by what he brings for the hobby each time.
So that's where that goes. He's got as reference, he's got all the instructions, and he's the one that gives the color call outs on things. And then we find, and whether we buy the rights to for the box art, we buy it from Smile Media, or lately we've gotten a few we found online that were just trash that you really couldn't see much of, and upload that to some of the new AI stuff, and I'm getting some good photos, all cleaned up for our box art. So I do all our box art too, and then it runs through Clay, and he sets everything up so it's printable.
Speaking of Clay Kemp, just a phenomenal builder, phenomenal designer for J.R. Salvino. I always, when people, all of us here, I know Matt, myself, Mark, and Chris, we all have YouTube channels. A lot of people, like when we're building a particular, let's say a J.R. Salvino's kit, and I had this especially because I did one of the open wheel modifieds when y'all first came out with them. I was building that, but the first thing when I carried it to a show, people asked me, "Did you have problems with fitment?" Da 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 da. And I was like, "No. Why? Why did you not have fitment problems?" I did, because I watched Clay Kemp's video, and he showed everyone as far as the close proximities, and that's another thing I always talk about with J.R. Salvino kits is. They say, what are they compared to as far as quality? I say, well, they're very, 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 very close to being a Tamiya kit. In other words, the close proximities, you throw the glue in the box, throw the paint in the box, shake it up, and boom, there you go. You got a kit.
Fred, you just turned into Jim's favorite person on the planet just now.
Well,
that's what he strives for.
I'm not trying to kiss up, but I do give reference to Clay's videos a lot, just not because of he's a walking encyclopedia, but when people were asking me about that particular open wheel modified kit, did you have problems with? I was thinking it was in the area of the engine itself, as far as how once it all goes together, did you have problems with it mounting to the frame? And I was like, no, I just watched Clay Kemp's video and that directed me to where. But I see a lot of people say, well, the tolerances on a J.R. Salvino's kits are not they're bad. No, they ain't neither. They are so close, but if you build it just like,
they're awesome, actually.
Like what was it my dad used to say? Don't do as I do as I say. So go and watch. Look, the internet is a walking plethora as far in YouTube. We didn't have YouTube when we were kids. We just built it and was like, okay, well, that one's going down the hill.
And I'll tell you, man, you like take a look at, or try to even today build one of those old MPC NASCAR models. Yeah. You want to talk about some woo, and then us kids, we were building them. Something.
Lots of them.
and
Yeah.
happily building them too.
Something about that modified that you're talking about. That's a neat little story between Jim and I. That's one of Jim's real early designs. That was his. He did that like long before the next gen and all that. So he really cut his teeth on that one.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough when we first met, and this is years before that kit ever got produced. He brought with him and I held it in my hand, his prototype of that kit, and
I
he
think
asked me
you
my
peed a little bit
opinion.
too when you saw it, didn't you?
What's that?
I said, I think you peed just a little bit when you saw it.
Oh, a little lot. Yeah, I had. Ooh. It was. I couldn't believe it because he didn't tell me about it. He just goes, "I want you to look at. I want your opinion on this." I says, "This has to be made. This has to be made. This is something we've never had in the hobby.
Never
Always
had,
wanted
no.
a modern, correct, modified." And I was
Asphalt, open wheel
amazed by
mod.
it. And this was all. He had put it together. It was all 3D printed, and 3D print were not. This is what was this? This was 6 years
This
ago,
was
7
back
years ago.
early
Yeah.
on.
Yeah,
this was
so
very early.
3D prints weren't as easy to deal with. Because also another thing is he did it all at the thicknesses and everything that you'd want in a styrene kit, so it was really brittle. But I was absolutely amazed when I got to see that thing. I go, this kit has to come out. It has to, and luckily, I mean, it almost didn't, and got to give Wes from Wes's Model Car Corner. Oh God, I hope I said it right. But
Yeah.
Wes over there in Tennessee, my old buddy Wes, he's the one who really took the torch and made that happen. And that I'm so glad that kit came out because it was something we've never had.
And there's a lot of them that shows up on the model.
Oh,
you go to
boy,
a model
so many
show.
of those kits.
Mark, which I'm envious of Mark. Mark got to go to a model show yesterday, and I didn't. So, but I guarantee there was a bunch at the upstate model car contest.
There were.
There were, yeah,
there were.
But every time I see one, oh my gosh, I just see something. Something somebody else takes and does. I'm just like, wow.
It's got so many possibilities, even for
It
doing other
does.
types
It
of race
does.
cars too.
It
That's
does.
what I
It
saw,
does.
and I had a couple of ideas. I want to bring Chris
Well,
on
it's a
this because he's
beautiful
kind of
kit.
got a technical thing. Chris, do you got some questions you want to ask Jim? I think you could probably slide a little more to the technical side. Of it.
Well, and that'd be good because as I told you, I'm gonna have to jump off a little bit early. But actually, that kind of topic of the modified is a good segue to, a point and a question that I had is. There are a lot of people like me. Like, I will admit, I'm not a big NASCAR guy, but I do really enjoy watching short track racing, whether that's on asphalt or on dirt. And so the ability to have that modified kit, and it's a beautiful kit, the ability to have that and build that was something that was really exciting for me. And I guess a question for you, Jim, that I'm curious about is, have you guys looked at any of the other genres within short track racing as possibility for kits? Like my favorite class is the Legends cars, right? Like you take an old 40 Ford sedan and you scale it down 5/8 scale, put a motorcycle engine in it. I would absolutely adore seeing a Legends kit on the shelf, for example, or Monogram Revell back in the day had a sprint car series. Is that something you guys have looked into as well?
Well, we've talked a little bit about sprint cars and midgets. Midgets might be a little bit higher on the want list, just because builders can still get sprint cars that. How old's the mold? 15, 20 years maybe? And
No longer than
20.
probably like 35.
And
yeah,
they're not
old Monogram.
terribly different from what the cars are today. I haven't studied them, so I don't know, but I'm sure that they're not terribly different. And somebody's like yourself might make some of the updated accessories parts to put on those to make new ones. It would be good to do those. I've been asked about Legends cars. I don't know. It all depends on can we sell enough to not just make it come put us into the black, but to make a profit on it, to so that Rick and I can actually get a paycheck every month. So there's those
Yeah.
thoughts and those questions. And Rick's not completely sure on how it's going to be on the funny car. I think it's going to do very well. My desire now, whether it happens or not, is I want to expand our footprint. I want to get into NHRA. I want to get into dirt cars. I want to get into some other things, so that more people find out about us. Just like we expanded to do the Indy cars, and that's been fantastic for us. There's all of a sudden a community that has been starving for years, and that's where the dirt cars come in too. A community that's starving for years. All of a sudden, these two old idiots come along, spend all of our savings on stock car molds, and there is a whole new life to the a starving section of the hobby. And Tamiya, Ravel, any of the others, they're probably really happy that we came along, so that they don't have to put up with people saying, "Hey, when are you going to do this? When are you going to do this? We want to see a new." Well, you know what? Go talk to the crazy old guys. They'll do it. So we are feeding those. I would love it and I think in the dirt cars, I think the Legends could be something that could be successful, because now, can it be produced in a price range that the people that are more used to that, or maybe kids or whatever, who are into doing those, are they going to build? I hope so. So, it would be nice to do those, to add those.
Well, you mentioned.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Another thing you mentioned was the aftermarket support, and personally, I love doing that. Like, we've worked with AMT in the past, when they were releasing their new 2021 Bronco. We worked with AMT to develop a collection of aftermarket parts to support that launch. And people have asked me in the past, like, "Hey, what about some oval track stuff? What about some stuff for the Salvinos JR kits?" And the first thing I'm going to say is, you guys make my job difficult there, because your kits are so they already ship so beautifully. There's not really inaccuracies to correct. There's not really stuff that is missing out of the box that people need, or so I guess my question would be, how can we as an aftermarket support what you guys are doing, and help kind of build an ecosystem around the kits that you're producing?
Whew. That's kind of a good question. It's like some of the
very good
accessories that I make.
Yeah.
It's not so much picking up something that I got wrong, as much as we couldn't do so much stuff. Rick always says, I put far too many parts in the cup, in the next gen. So now there's some parts that I make, and there's some stuff that you do, and Jay, I don't know what Jay's company is.
Jay's Resin
Model Garage.
That they make stuff, because we couldn't do all the, well, we couldn't do some of the things like they now have. They have the air tubes that go from the NAC ducts in the back, and they go to the brakes in the back and stuff like that. The other thing is, those didn't exist. Remember, when I got the files from NASCAR 6 months before the teams even knew what the car was.
Huh.
Wow.
I had the files for that car in May, and they didn't even find out till November. So they didn't even have a dashboard in that thing when I designed it.
Yeah, that's why the original ones it came later. That was something that you did add later on, and you had to get certain kits that you did get the dashboard. But I remember that there was no dashboard in the design, the original design.
But there's tweaks you can do on some of the stuff, and then there's just cool additional parts. Like I did shocks, but somebody else has probably done shocks too. And hey, you know what? I appreciate people like yourself making the accessory parts that go with our kits. I make some stuff for all of our stuff, but You don't have to have them, but if you want to just,
but it sure does make it look better.
you want to take it up just a little. You do this with my stuff, or you do it with any of the other guys that are making stuff.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you go to, we're talking about Clay Kemp, Jay Savarese. He's another one of the awesome NASCAR kit builders.
yeah,
When they bring their stuff to the show, I mean, I can sit there and I can just look at this amount of detail that they use, not just out of the box. I'm talking, from the resin designers like Chris, like Jay's Resin, just other independent resin 3D printing companies that are out there, and you just sit there and you're just mesmerized. I mean, when you go and you look at one of their builds, like Jay or Clay, and you're just sitting there for hours just looking at it, and you see something new each time, and you go, well, where did you get that piece? Well, I got that from so-and-so. Everybody, I hear this complaint throughout a lot of the model forums that 3D design work or 3D printing is going to kill the hobby. I'm going to call BS on that.
Yeah, I'm on that camp with you.
Man, no. When I carry one of my builds to the table and somebody asks me where they got it, I'm going to tell them it didn't come out of the kit. It come from so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. And then you've got one big domino effect that, it's helping JR Salvinos, it's helping Chris at Scale Speed Garage, it's helping the other 3D printers that are out there, MCV products.
Don't forget us resin casters.
And these resin casters. This knucklehead right here, wherever he's at, I'm going to prod him in the... He sends me stuff, and I'm in the process right now of building I wouldn't say a legendary 1-to-1 scale pro street car, but I'm working on it hot and feverishly right now. And I mean, products like that is what really enhances and makes the model hobby better.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get some grief about that, but
as good as 3D prints are, I haven't seen Chris's stuff, but I'm sure it's great. But as good as 3D prints are, they will never be as good as an injection molded part. Just simply because the molds are polished in an injection molded part. Now, details and having draft and undercuts and stuff like that, you can't get away with it in an injection molded, but you can. The 3D printed stuff is fantastic for accessories, but it's not going to do better than injection molded. No matter what you got, you've got layer lines. They've gotten smaller and smaller and smaller, but you're going to have them. But they're
still going to have them. Yeah.
Great for accessories.
They're not as pronounced on smaller stuff than they are with the larger stuff.
Yeah, exactly. You really have a problem with the bigger.
Because for those of you that
for bodies, I agree. I think.
Yeah, for those of you that are listening, as far as 3D printing is like it slices, and that's where you hear layering problems. I wouldn't say problems, but layering issues with larger stuff, where you might see sectional lines. It's just like, and that's how design work is done on 3D printed stuff. Is it's sliced. You hear people talking about. Going to Chris, help me out with some programs.
Slicer.
Cheetah Box.
Cheetah Box. Thank you. That was one of them I was trying, because I delve off into 3D printing when it first came out. I thought about a filament printer. Then I seen, that went, people kind of went out whole hog and bought all that. Then came the resin 3D printer. I went and bought me one, and guess what? That's a whole new hobby. And I was like, no. I ended up buying a 3D printer and a curing station and went whole hog. And next thing I know, I was like, I'm printing all this stuff, but I ain't got time to build it no more. So I call up a good friend of mine. I say, hey, that's in a printing business. Also, I said, hey, you want to buy a printer? He's like, heck yeah. I was like, okay, next time I see you can have it. So.
Yeah, I tell you, and the nice thing, like with what I do with the resin casting, and Jim has been there for me, where he's designed and printed masters for me that I would take, and then I'd polish them up, and I would make molds and produce them in resin. And you know, it's been a few of the items, very successful items in my line, and it was kind of a really neat partnership. Working like the part that got my business going was that Grand Am nose I did that fits onto their Le Mans, turning it into a Grand Am. So there's a lot of the NASCAR race car builders that want to do the lower divisions, sportsman divisions, then they ran Grand Ams, but it was the same body. So coming out with that nose, it was just something that a lot of people were kind of going to Salvinos JR Models and going, well, you done this, why don't you do the Grand Am? But for them to produce that nose and then market a completely different kit, it probably wouldn't have sold as a kit. It was better for like someone like me to make the nose, and you know, we all got together with that. And what better to have the nose that I sell, that it was designed by the guy who designed the body that it goes on. So obviously it fits perfect, I must say. And it has been successful. And now there was this, what's that builder that keeps getting talked about that he's okay at building? What's his name? Clay Kemp. Now Kemp, he just
Clay,
out,
somebody like that.
yeah, I sent Clay Kemp one of my early noses years ago. Said, hey, here you go, try it out. Tell me what you think. And he's finally gotten the time to now. He started building a sportsman Grand Am using my nose, and I'm making new molds because I know that thing's going to take off again. So I got to get ready because I'm going to start getting more sales coming in on that thing. But that has been a great addition, and it's cool how we're all able to, you know, Chris and I have you know, done things together and talked about things. It's nice to have the whole, we all work together to create wonderful stuff for the builders. But I tell you, you know, I couldn't imagine going through all the stuff that, that's mine.
That's yours.
That's mine right there.
I can't show you no more of it though.
Okay, that's fine.
It ain't finished yet. It ain't even, it's mocked up, but
Yeah,
you know,
I'm so glad you're using that.
Well, I tell you what, I'm very, very happy with it. It's really, I know I've shared some pictures with y'all on it, but I'm building a copy, one of the first Pro Street cars, and everybody goes, "Oh, Pappy is Mr. Pro Street." I do build a lot of Pro Street cars, which are what the inspiration of, and this is kind of going to lead up to my question, Jim. I'm building one of my favorite Pro Street cars of all my life. When I first seen the first Pro Street car was Rick Dobberton's 65 Nova Chevy 2 Innovation, big block Chevrolet, blown turbo, dual turbos. When I seen that, I was just like, wow, man, I'm gonna build one of these one day. What did I do? Yeah, I did. I didn't build a Nova. I built a 69 Camaro RSSS Pro Street. That was the first one-to-one car I ever had. That I did that with. But now with, you know, the kits, you know, you can't find that particular. Mobius has the 65 kit out that you can possibly do this with. And my good friend over here, Mr. Luka C, Mr. Matt, sells a great copy of the 4-link back half, the 4-link, the back half, the whole 9 yards. But my question for you, Jim, from start, you see a car that y'all want to produce for production. How long does it take to go from concept to finish product in a box?
Are we talking a body that can go on an existing chassis?
Let's talk about the whole kit.
Oh, that's months. That's easily 6 months.
That's a lot of design work.
Since I've done that, but like the Indy car and the next gen car.
Yeah, that's a great.
But I had, both of them gave me the files, so all I had to do was try to convert on our next gen and our Indy car, all of the surfaces that you look at, those are the actual skins that they gave me.
Wow.
Then I had to thicken everything I had to reduce it down 1/20th or 1/24th scale.
Right.
And then I had to thicken everything to, basically 50 thousandths. And then I had to give everything draft angles. So yeah, it saved me a hell of a lot of time getting those files. But the Cup car and the Indy car, these are the most accurate of those type of racing kits ever. And it's not because of me, it's because what I was given. Now I'm sure that the Camaros, the Corvettes and stuff that Monogram and Tamiya, they're doing all these things. I'm sure they're getting files just like I did.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, that's what makes this the best time ever for a model builder. Plus the stuff that Chris does and Iceman and the accessories. Mm-hmm. That's why this is the best time ever for a model builder. And people like Matt doing cool resins that you can't get anywhere else. But I lost track of what I was saying. But those are what they gave me. But it even still with that, it took me months because how many parts are in the next gen? I want to say there's 135 parts.
Yep.
That just kills Rick every time. But this goes back. Why do we have so much stuff? It's because when we came out with the Gray Ghost, I was absolutely savaged by people. What was the chat group, the online chat group?
Oh yeah, thank goodness it's gone now, pretty much. The Randy Ayers NASCAR board.
Yeah. You would have
got very toxic.
I was sacrificing babies by the way they treated me over not getting things dead nuts perfect. They were brutal. And then when we came out with the next gen, we had a whole nother group of guys that were so pissed off that we made the Gen 7 instead of reproducing a Gen 6. That's when we had to spin off to the Outlaws model group, and they were just beating on me the whole time because of that. But that's why I try to get everything in, and I try to get everything right now. That those mistakes that I made before, I'm trying to avoid those. The difficulty with that modified kit was I made everything too tight, and I had some things too tight in the next gen. I know where my mistakes are, but once you cut the steel, you really can't go back and tweak stuff like that.
And that's like a part of this that we want to explain is when something is finally, and everybody's got to realize real quick is Jim, when he did the Gray Ghost and all the early ones, even that modified, you were green at this. You were just learning how to do. You again, like you said earlier, you sculpted things and then made molds of that. It was pretty much right there. You were new at doing design work. Also, you did not have at the time the accessibility to the knowledge because you were not a race car guy. You were. It was just you guys were kind of like just going off of pictures and doing your best. Which, I mean, for that, and the technology was way different 8-9 years ago when you started this. I think you did a heck of a job. And the thing is like you're saying, this is the best time for us as modelers, and the reason why is because of modern technology and stuff. 20, 30 years ago, I mean, you have the big, Monogram, Ravel, AMT. You couldn't have little companies like you guys and like Atlantis. That was almost next to near impossible to do. Now it's something that's feasible because of the technology, because the computer technology, and even like what Chris does. Years ago, they had to actually, like what you did, is all those model kits were hand sculpted. It was now, and there was only such a few people that could do that, and it was very, very expensive. Where today, it's made it more possible for more. There's so many little Mobius, all these little model companies popping up, giving us more choices and more kits all over.
Well, to take it way back. This is probably 25, maybe a little bit more years ago. There was a guy in town where I lived in Corona, where Rick did, and there was a guy that had a 3D printer, a resin 3D printer. That thing was well over $250,000.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now I've got something that I got 3 printers downstairs that the quality, the layer height might have been a 32nd of an inch. It probably was even more. And now, what are we doing, Chris? Are you doing more than 50 microns? Less than?
Oh yeah, I typically print at 0.02 millimeters.
Wow.
Yeah.
50th of a millimeter at a time.
So it's as close to perfect as I told some of the guys that used to sculpt for me. I said, what we're getting printing now is every bit as good as what we could sculpt by hand and then polish out the waxes that that's how toys used to be done. Sculpted, waxed, and polished.
And Jim, one thing you'll find too, now that 3D printing is in the mainstream in our hobby, and most model builders have at least experienced some 3D printed parts, I think you'll find that most people now they understand that there may be a little bit of finish sanding to do on a 3D printed part. So, that's just kind of part of the workflow now. I guess, and I got to jump off of here and jump into a licensing meeting. Speaking of, but one consideration that I was going to ask is if you would consider, I know you're using 3D printing already in the business for prototyping and things like that, if you would ever consider including some multimedia stuff in your actual production kits, including some 3D printed parts, because that takes away a lot of that. Hey, why don't you do this? Okay, that's an easy change to make, and we can make that change instantly, and not have all of the tooling overhead and the changes in in the production line and everything else. It's just making a quick redesign, and setting up the new files for printing, and boom, you can pretty much make those changes on the fly.
Matt, I'm going to let you answer that. I'm going to unplug my ears and I'm going to go grab them off the shelf.
Yeah, I got to jump out. I'm going to catch the answer in the replay. So,
all right, Chris. Well, actually, the answer, though, real quick, and you watch it, you'll see the detail to it. Is yes, they already do that. It's pretty cool, and we're working on some really cool projects.
Love it. Awesome, guys. Thank you for having me on.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate
it.
Jim, it was great to meet you. I'd like to connect and talk.
Yeah, you guys got to connect.
Absolutely, Chris. I was rolling back to grab this.
Yeah,
Matt.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Make you big.
Make
real
me
quick.
Big. Okay, this is going to be the first multimedia kit. Matt is doing the monocoque and some other resin parts, but I'm printing the exhaust on this, some of the suspension in the back, some of the other parts I'm printing that are going to be in the kit. And,
I love it.
And then let me move that. This is the engine assembled, and it is all parts for the engine in white metal, and it will come with printed exhaust.
Wow.
Oh, that is awesome.
You can zoom back up, Matt.
Yep. So,
good deal.
Yeah, it's
so Matt will give us both each other's contact information. I'd
absolutely
love to talk.
Yeah. So I was hoping for you guys to meet.
Wow.
Perfect.
I think I just peed on myself a little bit. See.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
You
take care, Chris. Thanks for coming in with us.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, guys.
Nice to meet you.
So, Mark, you've been kind of quiet, and I know you've got some questions.
Fred touched on one of my questions, and that's okay though. But the first thing I want to do is go ahead and say, Jim, thank you so much, and Rick, all you guys do something that no one else has ever done. Going back to the old MPC kits when that stock car series first came out, those things came out the year after those were on the track. Monogram, when those hit, they were pretty much the same. They were kind of previous season. You guys have stepped up the game, and you've been putting stuff out same year, and that is absolutely awesome.
Sometimes
And
weeks
I think
after it
that's a
hits the
big
track.
draw. That's a big draw to people that are stock car builders, or even wanting to get into it. If they can build something that they see right now, hey, that is fantastic.
We're we're
So
waiting.
thank you for that.
There's stuff we want to put up for pre-sale right now that we can't because we don't have the new Chevy mold yet. If we did, you'd see probably 3 or 4 new Chevys up there for pre-sale. One of them being Hocevar, from his win at Talladega. I mean, box is done. We're just waiting for the mold to come in, and Rick doesn't want to put that up for sale. But this is technology that's allowing us to do stuff to be well. I think we almost were able to beat the next gen. We almost beat it to the racetrack with the release. The molds were a little bit late, like a month or two, but still we're getting there. But with the decals, if we can get the artwork and it gets delivered right, we're still trying to recuperate from the last tranche of decals to I can't think of the name. The decal company in Italy.
Cartograph.
They were a month late getting it to us,
Cartograph,
and then Customs and FedEx were another 2 weeks. So we're still trying to catch up, but we're doing our boxes differently. So instead of having to do a whole bunch of them, and it's a top and a bottom, we're doing it's like a donut box. The whole thing is printed flat. We can put more stuff on it. We can print as few as one. So we will start doing runs of 300 kits, and we might have 4 different NASCARs in a month, but we'll only have like 300 of each. But what that does is there's the guys that love Chase, and the guys that love Kyle, and the guys that love Denny, and the guys that love Joey, and other stuff, and even other guys like Carson that under normal conditions, could we sell 500 to 1,000 of them? That's why we're sitting on a bunch of stuff that we made them because we were restricted. But now we can do those, and somebody wins a race, we can pop out with, as soon as we can get the decals done, we can have that kit coming out. We'll probably be announcing either tonight or tomorrow whoever has the pole position for the Indy 500. We'll be doing a box on that, and then next week we'll have an Indy 500 winner. And they may be the same guy. We don't know, but
we don't know.
We'll those up, and as quick as we can get the decals done, those will start shipping. So it's the changes in the technologies that we have available to us, and it just makes things better for the hobby and the builders. And again, at first I got a little upset about some of the aftermarket decal companies until Rick beat it into my head. Yeah, but they got to buy our kit to put those decals on.
True.
And that
that's right.
Translates into the aftermarket accessories. Yeah, but they got to buy our kit to put those on. And even though there's other guys that are making, some of them that are making bodies, well, they've had a few months to sell a body. Great, hope they make some money on it. So, but it's just the technology and the things that change in the hobby, and I still think this is making it better for the hobby than
absolutely.
And I think
it's.
I
was just going to say, I think it's great that you guys make the effort to do that, because, and the one great thing is Rick is a hobbyist as well, a modeler. You're getting into it kind of now, so
a little bit.
Got a couple awards under your belt.
You got a passion for it, so you're making the effort to keep everything up to date, and that goes a long way too.
And I think the accessory, the printing, I think that you guys are seeing it in the competitions. You can do this much box stuff, but you want to have your edge over your competition. You're going to have to either hand fabricate, or you're going to have to design or get somebody else to
Definitely.
design and print stuff
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
to get those next steps up. And yeah,
And I know I have done both.
there's going to be the
Mhm.
occasional complete print that's gonna win, but it's not going to be very often because there's, like I said, you can't beat styrene. You just can't.
Yeah.
No.
Mm-mm.
And I personally prefer. I'd rather a kit be a styrene kit.
Yeah.
What I was going to ask too was something you touched on, though, Fred, was um, from once all the licensing is done. Well, this will lead into my next question anyway. Once all the licensing is done, you've done your test stuff. Now it's time to send it to have the molds cut.
Mhm.
Now, I have watched and seen online, as well as in magazines over many years, the process of building a model car. Now, while I may know that, a lot of the folks watching may not know, as you were saying earlier, about the molds, the polishing,
Mhm.
how they're made, where they're made. Um, Tell us a little bit about that. Once you finish and get your work is done,
Mhm.
and you're going to have that steel cut. What's the process, and where do you go from there?
Most injection molds are still done in China, and there is some stuff coming back to the States. I would love to be able to deal with it more. We're actually having the Chimera molds being modified, um, but it's just not speed wise. It's not doing what we hoped for. Um, so typically, to put it this way, I'm looking for, well, any of the surface you see on a part. Let's say the part is my hand. You got this surface that's going to be one side of the mold, and this surface that's going to be the other side of the mold. And my digital hand, they actually take this surface and then they build a box around it. So the machining is dead nuts accurate to what the surfaces are. It's really cool the way they design. I once I would send the company in China the designs for the car, and then in a week or so they'd send me back the molds and all the files and everything on it so I could look everything over. I just geek out on it because all of a sudden my little things have all been put into the trees. So they look just like what you see the shapes of the trees with all the parts on it, and then there's all the ejector pins where those go, and how they're ground off and everything. It just kind of blows me away to see how that end, the technical end, because that takes me back to high school machine shop, with,
Yeah.
with a few
Yeah,
steps
yeah.
up. But I love seeing stuff like that.
Uh,
And so it gives me that idea to see how they do. So once they machine it, and then they actually have to polish the surfaces so they're mirror, especially for glass, so that there's no scratches, no nothing, that it's
Mhm.
all completely smooth. And then everything has to go together. There can't be undercuts where things are going to hang up. That's where I have to try to have my stuff finished so that it not only do the parts not hang up, and this is one of the little tweaks on the next gen kit. If you go to put that together and you go to build the cage, the front firewall doesn't want to fit quite as tight. It's because they had to add a couple draft angles on a couple pieces to get them out of the mold. Well, they
Uh,
they don't know what the next steps are, so they just do what they think's right. And you got an innie where you should have an outie. So you got to just take a couple
um,
seconds with your hobby knife and take it off without cutting your thumb off.
We know what that reference is.
It just takes, a
oh, maybe.
shoulder, but yeah.
The little Luka.
So those are things that I didn't know before. And now I'm trying to learn to avoid them. And whatever the next is down the line, I'm going to try to have it better. That printed assembly of the funny car, it goes together really nice because all the pegs and holes, they're almost sloppy. That's what I'm trying to get, where everything fits with enough of like about a 10 thousandths gap everywhere so that they'll go together and there's a little bit room for glue. So, yep.
Yeah, that's a good move. Yeah, and it is. It's been
And when they
for you. It's been a learning process from
It's
beginning
been vertical. It's been
and you can see it in
curves.
every one of your newer designs and
Mhm.
everything. So
Well, as you said, Jim, you're learning from those process, and just like with each of us that are builders,
Mhm.
we try to make every model a little better than the last one, and I'm sure you're the same way there. You want to make each one a little better.
Yeah.
Now,
Mhm.
once that mold is finished, it's sent back to the U.S., and they are actually
Our stuff
molded here in the U.S.
is made
And
in Bernardino, California.
yep, yep.
Mhm.
I didn't know if everybody knew that, so if you're new to it or you're watching, there you go.
Yep.
And the decals again by Clay are all designed here, so
That's
here in
why
the U.S.
our logo has the Jim and the Rick, the JR, and it's the American flag because that's that's where
Yep.
that is we are an American model kit company doing American racing. That's
Yep.
that's the
America.
whole America. That's
America,
why
by
it
God.
started that way, and then we were going to be JR models, but there's a JR models that's
Mhm.
runway models in New York City, so we threw on the Salvinos, and the Salvinos takes it back to Ralph, so it drags everything, it holds
oh
everything.
yeah, we didn't mention that. We didn't mention that just so
Yeah.
everyone knows. You guys know this, but our listeners. Okay, so Jim's partner, the crazy man behind this, Rick Salvino, he is the son of Ralph Salvino. And who Ralph Salvino is when Richard Petty first got with STP, he was the guy from STP that laid that first STP sticker down on Richard Petty's car at Riverside in 1972. And then onward, if you're familiar with the 1981 win, which is one of Hobby Dude's favorite race cars, and has done some amazing took some
Yeah.
amazing pictures of it. Ralph is the old guy laying across the hood on the way to the. You see in all the videos.
Very circle.
To the
That's Rick's
victory circle.
dad,
Yeah.
Ralph Salvino. So he was basically racing director for STP
He was
back in
VP
the
of
70s and
racing
80s.
in the 70s and 80s. Yeah,
And he was a big part of what we love so much in this sport. And I have right here one of my out of my collection here. This right here, these are two STP hats. I got the King signature. Come on, get my finger in the right place. The King signature is on that one, and this one was a wonderful gift from Rick that he had Ralph sign for me. I've got Ralph Salvino above the King right there for STP hats. So it's so that right there brings something into this being a model company that deals with racing model kits. I mean, you've got, if that isn't showing the enthusiasm in doing this.
There's one other little thing. I don't know if you know, Rick, Matt, the J and the R, the shape of the letters. I wanted something that looked like the numbers on a race car door.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's why the J and the R, and then the flag in it. So everything there, that says a whole lot in just that little design about
Yeah.
who we are and what we do and our heritage. So there's a lot in just that one little logo.
And it is so cool. On every decal sheet, you get a little decal, a Salvino's JR Models decal on the decal sheet, and I've used them before on putting on other models. It's that was a great idea. And
On my other set of ear monitors,
oh yeah, oh we're tagging everything, aren't we? Something about the whole. I had some people say, well, if they claim it to be U.S. made, why? Because there was the kerfunkel of happening about the decals coming from Europe and getting held up for a while, which held up kits last month.
Yep.
In customs, because they just were the lucky ones to get picked that day.
Yep.
So customs held them for a while. Well, if they were U.S. made, why aren't they having the decals made in the USA? Well, you talk to anyone in the industry, and they will tell you Cartograph is the best in the world of making water slide decals. Everybody, there are a bunch of companies here, model companies here in the U.S. that go to Cartograph. If there was someone in the U.S. who did it as well as Cartograph, but I say no, stay with Cartograph.
Well, Power Slide is printed there too, so
all of Mike's, yep. Everybody's using it.
And as far as
decals, that's all Cartograph.
Well, as far as U.S. made, they are actually technically made in the U.S. by Clay. They're just printed in Italy.
Overseas. Yeah,
I believe Clay he's pretty much the artist. He does almost everybody's decals, doesn't he?
Just about.
Just about. I mean, he's been doing that for a long time. But yeah, so but the fact that, like you said, the kits are actually injected here. They've been by the same shop, same company, same guy since the Gray Ghost. You've had your same injection mold guy.
Yeah.
And their company has grown because of it, hasn't it?
It has. Yeah. The economy in general is the only thing that kind of, has hampered anybody. And that's just
exactly
general.
That's true.
True. But boy, the injection, and plus with that, we've talked about, there's been changes in the technology that your kits have brought to us, like the high impact styrene is so different from what we used to have to deal with, where it doesn't have any memory. So if it gets twisted, you can twist it back and it stays. It doesn't have then the memory to go back to its deforming. And having the colored plastic, you don't have the bleed through because it's a actual powder pigment instead of what they used to use as liquid dyes that would leach through. And so, I mean, the technology in just that is just leaps and bounds today.
Well, where it is so great is you hear the guys complaining about the under tray on the next gen. Yeah, it's a large piece that didn't have enough places onto it to hold it on the tree. But no matter how tweaked it is, you can just give it a few tweaks, pound it down on the table a little bit with your fingers till it doesn't wobble. And you can have that. Rick can get the worst bent one flat in about 30 seconds.
I did it in a video.
It's the styrene. You don't have to heat it. You don't have to put it in hot water or anything. You just bend it and it stays.
And the thing about that under tray, where us as modelers, we assume, when you pull out any type of chassis, flat pan that you start with, that's the structure of the model. And if it's twisted, you're screwed. Where that's not the structure of the model. The framework is the structure, and it gets glued onto the... So even so, when you get it all reformed and you get that glued onto the chassis that you've built, as long as you've done your chassis correctly, that under tray is going to be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But I do want to make a mention is if there's people that are uncomfortable with it being twisted, you guys have a wonderful customer service department, I have to say. You want another one, we'll send you another one. And we've got Doug who does it. Doug Mitchell.
The business. Yep. He is so good about handling everything. Yeah. Doug's great.
Yeah.
Love him to
death. And that's something that something else that you guys have brought to the table that none of the other companies do is you have, between the internet shows that you do and the Builders Club and all that, you have become friends and coming on to things like this. You've gone out there and gotten to know and be a part of the community. Everybody knows you guys. Anybody can contact any one of you. And you can give them a call and talk to them and get advice. And it's that's something that no other company has done, which when you first told me you guys were going to do it, I thought you were out of your mind. But
you were right.
And you are.
That was a good bit of judgment on your part.
Yeah, but it's real. I think it's done something where it's turned all of the builders of these kits. It's turned us into a huge family.
Yeah,
and it's like we just had a wonderful experience.
It really did
this weekend. Bringing Ronnie Thomas
and over the last couple of minutes, you've hit the last two things of my questions, one of which being the uniqueness of the plastic that you use,
Oh
which
yeah.
Jim, you covered that. And the other thing was, this is the only company that I've ever called on the phone and Rick answered the phone.
Yeah.
Yes.
And and the first time, or excuse me, the last time I talked to him, I like to never got him off the phone.
And
I
something
mean,
else that we
it
have
was
built
fun.
also.
It was fun. But
He's
what
got
other
great
company can you
stories.
do that with
Oh
and
yeah.
talk to one of the owners, founders, and them talk to you like they've known you
Mhm.
forever?
Yep.
And but we are a real good family.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely.
Sometimes I get to bounce in with my schedule. Sometimes on Tuesday nights, I got to where I just listen in more now than I comment. And Saturdays, occasionally, I'm usually so tied up on Saturday mornings, but I know I'm the one missing out. But what other model company does this?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a great community. It's a great
Mhm.
family that you've put together here, Jim.
Is it
Yep.
one of the other companies? At least they are doing. Is it Atlantis that they're doing the videos and
Yeah.
doing the
Yeah,
mold and
yeah.
showing stuff? And I
Yep.
I dig on it. I love it
Yeah.
because it's all of this. All of this stuff makes the hobby better for everybody. It's not just that us doing our videos
Yeah.
is better for us alone. It's
No,
rising
it
all
it
boats.
in it's for the whole hobby.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah, for
absolutely.
the whole
Yeah.
hobby community.
When you started and when you and I met, how many vlogs out there, YouTube stuff and Facebook pages for the hobby were there?
Wasn't many.
Just
Now, how
just a
many? How
couple.
many
Not
now?
that many.
Oh my
There's
Oh
gosh.
yeah.
Yeah.
there's
Mhm.
Oh, I'm
five
finding
of
new
us.
YouTube channels almost
Mhm.
several a week sometimes.
Oh
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
And
Mhm.
groups are
it's
always popping
amazing
up.
how this has grown.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's pretty much like Facebook. Between Facebook groups and YouTube, there's just so much information. There's so many great builders out there that they don't want to get that into it, but they just get onto like Facebook and just will
Mhm.
answer questions. People put a
Mhm.
question up, and it's been great. And we have, the Builders Club has a private Facebook group that you have to be in
Yeah.
the club to be part of that group. But what an amazing bunch of knowledgeable, both in racing and model building,
Mhm.
that group is that we can get on and discuss things and help each other out with that. And it expands from there.
Yeah.
But
And just just like we said earlier, I mean, it's a great time to be in the hobby.
it
Yeah.
is,
Just,
it is.
I mean,
Because
being
people
able
get great.
to go to model shows, the magazines that we have available to us now,
Yes.
it's just, I mean, I know myself and Mark, when, I mean, we go to a lot of shows. Uh, I want to go there to enjoy the models, the camaraderie, the whole 9 yards. But I spend a good portion of my time at a model show, whether it's one that, like our club or at, say, Mark and them's club. Uh, we spend a lot of time talking to a lot of people that come up and say, "Hey, we watch your channel. We learn a lot from it. And, how did you do this?
Yeah,
And, what's your take on that?" So it's just, it's full circle all the way around. So,
it is
It is. Yeah,
a
definitely.
lot of fun.
Yeah. Do you guys have any other questions that you want to ask Jim?
I'd like to
Oh,
know
I
what,
could come up, but no,
yeah, yeah.
that's it for me right
You
now.
sure? You sure?
I'd like, I was sitting here a minute ago and I was like, my next question is going
Don't
to
be
be,
scared.
I wonder what Vicky's cooking in there because it sure doesn't smell good.
Oh, wait, yay. We
I'm
don't
sitting there
have
going, oh,
television here. We
I'm
can't
sitting here
smell.
starving to death. I'm
We'll
like,
head that way then.
Oh, well, then I know where this is going then. We're
I
going to have
think
to
I know
wrap
what it
this up.
is. Yeah, I think I know what it is.
Fred's tum-tum is rumbling, so we're going to have
It's
to
been a
wrap it
long.
up.
It's been a long. It's been a long morning. I ate breakfast about 9 o'clock this morning, so I'm kind of.
I do want to mention something out there for people listening. Something I've always wanted to say out in public about something that Jim went through. That with us being friends, I kind of saw it happening. While it was happening, whatever you call it, saw it in real time. Was the next gen kit. This is where I almost get personally really ticked off on the internet when he gets a little cut down for whatever reason they feel he must get cut down for on that fantastic kit, which they're 100% incorrect and wrong. And get compared to like what, I don't want to say any names, but it was compared also to by someone who could see what was happening back in the day when Monogram did their wonderful, wonderful kits that now you guys, thanks to Rick and you, Jim, that we still have the old Monogram NASCARs, which they're personally my favorite kits ever. Most kit I've ever built are those. When they were doing those, and like something that Mark brought up, they were doing the cars a year or two after they already hit the track. They had access to the cars to take pictures and measurements. They had race teams that were there and other people in NASCAR that they could turn to and go and get technical advice, or they had questions on. And also they had Mike Laughlin and they had Banjo Matthews to turn to on technical questions on the creation of the model kit, getting things right, and they did an amazing job. And I can still find things wrong with it. Just to put that out there, and it's definitely not a slam on Monogram on that. Those are beautiful, really excellent, well done kits, and very, very accurate. They had a year or two to work on that. They had a production team. This guy over here, in a barn in Waco, Texas, or whatever it is, he got a call one day the year before the car was going to hit the track, and he didn't even have a year because it was like around March, and we have the Daytona 500 in February. NASCAR wants this kit. By the way, here you go. Here's your plans. None of the teams know it. You can't talk about this to anybody. We'll have to kill you if you say anything. No one can know about this. And there's no one to talk to. And he was on his own. And there was a little ins and outs, figured out how to find out a few things, but he was left on his own. Not only left on his own, had nobody to turn to ask questions or figure things out. He also had about 7 months to put the 6 months where he had to start being able to print prototypes so they can start putting them together, how it goes together. So he had to do this design in just a few months because NASCAR wanted the kits out at least around the Daytona 500 time period of 22 when the cars hit the track. So these kits were out when the cars were brand new, only had a few races under them by the time the kit came out. So not a lot of people realize or know. I know because I used to get phone calls from the man, and he needed an electronic hug a few times. And you were dealing with Space Claim back then. So we're not going to get into that. He was screaming at. It
hasn't been in my head for
and if any of you, and I just got by the way, my good friend Mark Anderson just texted me. He was at a model show here in Phoenix that he won box stock, and he is an amazing builder. He won box stock with one of the next gen builds.
Wow.
And, he is a fan of that kit, loves building it. He's built so many of them, and there's so many people that have built beautiful. I mean, we wouldn't have the kits if it wasn't for what Jim did. Exactly. And so it is a fantastic kit. It is extremely accurate. And I don't know how you did it, Jim, because you were ready to pull half the frickin' hair out of your head while it was going on. And he had no one to turn to. He couldn't go to a team because none of the teams knew. Yeah. They had no technical data on these things. So that was something when you called me, Jim, and said, guess what? You were like excited and terrified at the same time that you got the deal and you're going to do this. Don't tell anybody. So I'm giving a little secret. I'm like one of the only outsiders that knew about it because he needed someone to talk to. And I was terrified for him. It's like, wow, Ed, you got to have this out when? And this is there's nothing that transferred, not one thing that transferred from the car they were running at the time, the Gen 6 to the Gen 7.
Yeah.
It was from the ground up, and all he had was the technical data that NASCAR gave him and said, "Don't talk to us. We're not going to answer any questions."
And you know what? When I got those files, I mean,
Gentlemen.
I have to admit, I peed a little bit too. It was so cool to open up those files and go, "Wow, I got the car!" It was just too cool.
Yeah, it was, and I'll tell you, and it. Yeah, you talk about how, what was it? It was, you kind of, just because it took time for the molds, the thing was done. You guys had designed it; it was happening.
Yeah.
Molds were getting cut. Just took a time to get the molds back here. That you were off by a month or so of doing the first release.
We had some. We would have been on time had there not been some reworking that we had to go back over and do. The big trouble spot on the whole thing was the roll cage, interior roll cage, and that had to be redone. The mold had to be welded up, and then stuff remachined more than once to get it to where it worked. That was our big problem. But aside from that, I mean, everything else went very well on it.
Yeah, so something to think about when if you're building the next gen car and you're about to complain. Think about that. I don't think there is anybody that could have pulled off what Jim pulled off. He was Superman on that. And the other thing too is, at this point in time, that was 22 when that came out. We're in 26, and there's been new bodies and stuff like that, but it's been the same kit.
Good updated stuff.
A couple of updated things, big deal. You can do what you can do, but that kit, at this point in time, 3-4 years, there has been so many built. Nobody can say that is claim, well, that's something they did wrong. I don't know. There's a lot of people that are putting that kit together and not having a hard time, and the kit is beautiful.
Yeah.
I had a gentleman that got very angry at me because he couldn't build his, and I tried to advise him, and I said, "Watch my video," and he says, "You're just lying. You were just faking it on the video."
Bertha.
Right? Okay. Whatever.
Yeah. Jim, good to see you again, buddy.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Happy, I don't know about you, but no, I need to scoop. Sorry about that so much.
No problem, man. Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much for being on it.
As always.
Fun. Jim, thank you. Jim, thank you very much.
Appreciate
the time, buddy.
Quite welcome.
All right. Guys, have a great one.
Take care, Mark. I'll talk to you later, bud.
Take care.
See ya.
See ya.
And
then there was 3. But honestly, man, I think we've got a lot covered on this. This has been a great podcast. Kind of talked about more than initially. I mean, it was an excellent conversation. That's what we do these for. And we'll probably, Jim, hate to tell you this, but you are now officially a knucklehead. So don't be surprised that I say, you want to come on? We're going to talk about this. You want to come on? So you're probably going to be on a few more of these, and maybe one of these days we can get that other guy to come on. Who knows?
Clint. What's his name?
Rick.
Oh, that guy.
That guy, Mr. Salvino.
Yeah, Mr. Salvino.
Yeah. But I have to be Matt when it's that, because Luka is dead to him. So
we've been trying to get Rick on one of Matt's podcasts. He really
he will. We've talked about it. He wants to, but that's a guy who's he's always doing things. He's always trying to make it happen. So.
Yep.
But definitely, Jim, thank you so much for coming on, giving us a little insight of what it takes to really do these model kits.
I hope we answered a lot of questions for those that's out there listening today. It's just, as we say again, it's a great time to be in the hobby. I myself, I want to tell Jim, thank you very much for the product that y'all produce. It's just a excellent product. I'm jonesing now. I'm probably going to go out there in the stash and drag something in here in a minute to go right along with these other 3 that I got started on the bench. But thank you.
Our pleasure, Fred.
Thank you for what you do for the hobby and carrying it forward to the next generation of builders that are out there. And we look forward to seeing what y'all bring to the table next.
You're going to see more multimedia stuff from us too.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, just
a way
just
that we can get more new stuff without the insane costs of manufacture and new molds. So we've got plans, and you'll be seeing more.
oh, there's a lot of
Looking
cool
forward
things
to it.
coming down the pike, man. There's a lot of cool
Looking forward
things.
to it.
So, and down we have the comment section. Everybody, if you have a question about why or what or whoever, if you want to ask Jim, you know what? If we get enough questions, we might have to do another episode and do viewer questions on what it takes to take a model kit and go from idea, design, manufacture, market, and then put it on the shelf for us to purchase at our favorite hobby shop.
Yep.
It's not a snap of the fingers.
JRModels.com.
Yeah, what's that? Say it again.
From Salvinos, JRModels.com.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The link in the description to salvinosjrmodels.com. That is the place really to, you want to get their kits, and they still have a lot from the past years there. And they're also like Jim makes a lot of 3D print accessories for the kits. So, and they have a store that they sell paint and tools and then there's
Printed copies of Mia if you need one of those for your shelf. Everybody who follows us knows Miss Mia.
I was about to say, everybody knows.
Show.
Yep.
what did I do with my Mia?
Oh, Lord, look at him. He's looking for it. What'd you do with it? Come on, Matt.
Oh man. Oh.
Felix probably took it.
Oh, he does like it, I'll tell you that.
Oh, wow.
Yep, I've got. Nope, that's a driver. My eyesight. Jeez. Anyways, yeah, there's like a perfect 25th scale one, and then there's a little bit larger one that's a.
Inch and a 1/24.
Yep. I love it. It's cool. Yeah, you can put her right in the seat of the car
Yes.
where she belongs. Because I'll tell you, the dogs are a very important part of the company. If you get onto the shows and watch them and the meetings, you know it. Yep.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Cooper, he was the
That
first.
was the original.
Yep.
Cooper was the original. But yes, thank you so much, Jim. Down in the comments, please, anybody, you got any questions? We will get them answered.
Yep.
It's an interesting world, the making of these model kits. Why, Jim, I think you know the answer. Why do we make model car kits and then some of us build the model car kits?
Well, my question is why? Why?
Because
They're fun.
exactly.
That's right. Say it. Say the magic words. Do your
Folks, if y'all can go out and buy one of these awesome JR Salvino kits, because you know what? They dreamt it, and we're building them. Y'all keep it up.
Oh, there you go.
That's
right
great.
on. And here, well, we don't have
Well, we ain't got
we don't
the
have
fun-
Irv here to do it, so we don't have Irv here.
We ain't
so.
got the Irv, yeah.
Irvin,
He's off in
I'm
Yellowstone.
going to try to say it the way he goes about it is, here's the producers.
Yada, 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 yada.